And now for an age-old question. What would happen if you gave a yo-yo to a flock of flamingos? Well, we get the answer in the form of the next animated segment set to Camille Saint-Saëns' The Carnival of Animals finale. In this, a flock of flamingos try to force a slapstick member who enjoys playing with a yo-yo to engage in their dull routines.
This segment is so bright and colorful, it makes me think of Just Can't Wait to Be King from The Lion King. This is without a doubt the most light-hearted segment out of the whole film.
Also the shortest, with a running time of 1 minute and 58 seconds. Next up is Paul Dukas' The Sorcerer's Apprentice, a segment from the original Fantasia featuring Mickey Mouse. We all know the story to this one. Mickey brings a broom to life with a magical hat left by his master Yen Sid to carry water to a cauldron, but is in danger when he can't stop the broom. When I saw this on my home video version of Fantasia, I thought it was cool, but after seeing it on the big screen in Fantasia 2000, it's no wonder why it's considered a classic. It is just awesome!
The Sorcerer's Apprentice was the most well-known part of Fantasia. Disney today still associates this story with Mickey, such as in the hit game series Kingdom Hearts, and a live spectacle at Disney theme parks called Fantasmic. And it's great to see that nothing was changed with this segment. It's the same story, same animation. The only difference is that we have the Fantasia 2000 orchestra playing the music. And I honestly can't tell a difference between the two versions. It's that good.
The next segment stars Mickey's friend Donald Duck in the story of Noah's Ark, set to Edward Elgar's Pomp and Circumstance. You know, the music you hear during a graduation ceremony.
When I saw this part, it made me think of the Nutcracker Suite from the first Fantasia. We know the story and the music of the Nutcracker, but Disney didn't want to show actual Nutcracker elements. Instead, they showed dancing flowers, fish, and fairies. The same can be said for this one. Instead of seeing a graduation like we would expect, we see Donald rallying up the animals into Noah's Ark before the flood comes in. He and Daisy are separated, and each believe that they had lost their beloved in the flood. But at the end, they are reunited as they step out of the Ark and into the new world before them.
You know what? It just occurred to me. We've seen Mickey Mouse in Fantasia, and Donald Duck in Fantasia 2000. If they make a third one, it's gonna have Goofy. Maybe set to the Hungarian Rhapsody if we're lucky.
Disney, make it happen!
Anyway, on to the final segment of the film, set to Igor Stravinsky's The Firebird Suite. The story tells of a spring sprite, who I'm just going to call Mother Nature, and her companion, an elk. After a long winter, she restores the life to the forest by spreading her cloak onto the trees and the ground, announcing that spring has arrived at last. But then she comes along a mountain where nothing grows. Curious, she goes to the top, discovering it is a dormant volcano, and spots a mysterious shape in the center. Suddenly, whoa!
This creature, aptly named the Firebird, lays waste to the land, destroying all of Mother Nature's hard work.
You know, this segment reminds me of the Night on Bald Mountain from the original Fantasia. But unlike Chernabog, who is a force of evil, the Firebird is a force of nature, destroying all in its path, just to destroy the helpless little nymph. It is just terrifying. Surrounded by death, the elk encourages her to give new life to the world. The forest now looks better than it ever did before. It's the classic life, death, and renewal scenario.
Actually, after I saw this segment, it made me think of Fantasia as a whole. It was born in the early 40s, but was pushed aside and forgotten about with the rise of more successful Disney films. But now with Fantasia 2000, younger generations can experience this concept, breathing new life into the original masterpiece.
Wow, that's a very good observation, Danny. Now let's talk about the presenters in the live-action segments of the film.
Rather than having one host like in the previous film, we have several. Steve Martin, Itzhak Perlman, Quincy Jones, Bette Midler, James Earl Jones, Penn and Teller, James Levine, Angela Lansbury, and Mickey makes a return after The Sorcerer's Apprentice.
I have to say that my favorite hosts would have to be Steve Martin, because he is a comic legend.
Well, so do I. Big deal. Could I have my violin, please? Ah, thank you. All right, boys, let's... Ho! Oh, sorry. Could I have another stick thingy, please?
And Penn and Teller, because they're literally performing magic without any fancy editing tricks. Now that's talent. Just amazing.
Sleight of hand. Lies. Transformations. Fraud. Dismemberment. Rip-off. Fake. All are illusions.
I'd have to agree. They really stood out among the hosts. Everyone else pretty much just stood there and told us the story behind the music or Disney's intentions, but they were able to get their point across while doing what they do best: entertain.
Who else could cut off someone's ponytail and turn it into a rabbit?
True, but as they say, it's nothing more than an illusion. A fraud. Lies.
Oh, really? Alakazam!
Oh ho ho! Two can play at that game, good sir. Ha!
Very funny. Now let's finish this review. Overall, Fantasia 2000 is a worthy sequel to an already legendary classic.
I've heard people say that this movie was inferior to the first one, that it lacked the soul that the original had. But I agree in that it was a worthy sequel. The animation styles for each segment were appropriate, they did a good job in picking the music, and some segments reminded me of some of the pieces from the original Fantasia.
So together, we give this film a perfect rating of 5 stars. Well, that's all for now. I'd like to thank Danny, aka Raoshutsu, for joining me on this review. It was an honor to have you here. Mwah.
And thank you for inviting me to review this with you. It was fun.
I hope to have you co-host again with me sometime, Danny. Say hi to Sonic and Sally for me.
Will do.
See you at the movies. Anime movies, that is.